Hello, my name is Catherine. I'm one of the sonographers here at ScanX Ultrasound, and I'm going to walk you through the main controls on the ScanPad. When you receive your machine, it will come in a protective carry case. Inside, you have your ScanPad ultrasound machine. You'll have your transducer or probe, which will either be a microconvex or a convex, depending which you picked at the time. And finally, you will have your power cable. Let's get it set up. To attach your probe, first of all, make sure you push this down so that it's flush against the plastic. And you're going to twist it round and align it with the holes inside. Now this is a little bit fiddly, particularly at the beginning when it's brand new and everything's a little bit stiff. So be patient with yourself and line it up. And now I've pushed it in. Once it's in firmly, you're going to twist this knob to secure it in place. Remember, before scanning for the first time, to remove any protective tape that might be on the head of the probe. To turn the machine on, you're going to press and hold the power button. If you don't see this kind of image when you start up your ultrasound machine, it just means your probe is not attached correctly. Make sure it clicks firmly in place and then press your freeze button again and it should show this picture here. If there's anything about your settings that you want to change, this here is like your mouse pad. You can move your finger along here, go down to this cog icon, press set, and you can adjust things inside here. So if I want to change the date and time, I can go over here to date and time. If I want to put my name in here, so if you have a business name or a breeding name or a farm name, you can pop that here under name and that will then be on the top of your images. And if you wanted to change your exam preset to a different one, you can change it here. We usually scan on OB just because that gives you instant access to your gestational age calculations. But other than that, there's no real difference between OB, GYN or ABD. The actual scanning will be the same. So only worry about this if you intend to calculate gestational age. The most important controls for scanning are gain, which is how bright or dark your image is, which you adjust here. Depth, which you adjust with this knob here. You can see these are in line with the words on your screen. Frequency, lower usually for larger animals, higher for smaller animals. You also have harmonics on this machine, so you can go up to the highest frequency in your fundamental frequency range. You can jump up to your harmonics if you want to. If you want to learn more about this, we have a book written down below and also some course information you can check out down below as well. Your focal position, which you can move up and down here. And dynamic range I don't often change, but if you like a really black and white image, you can reduce your dynamic range, and if you want more shades of grey in your image, you can increase your dynamic range. Now I'm going to show you these main controls on a dog. I have here an image of my dog's bladder. I can make this image brighter by increasing the gain, and I can make it darker by decreasing the gain. There is no right answer, you just want it to be at the right level that you can see what you need to see. And it might be different on every animal that you scan, so don't get too attached to the numbers on the screen, just adjust it using your eyes. Depth, I can reduce my depth, and that's going to make the bladder appear larger. So that allows me to see it in more detail. If I was scanning for pregnancy, for example, I would definitely want to do this in order to look at the fetus inside the gestation sac. If I were to scan a pregnancy with my depth all the way out like this, it would be very difficult for me to spot a fetus inside the gestation sac. But on the other hand, I might like a setting like this to get a quick overview of everything in the abdomen before reducing my depth to look more closely at what I found. With frequency, you'll often leave it on its default setting, but if you find an animal to be particularly difficult to scan, maybe they're particularly large or overweight, you can reduce your frequency and that will give you better penetration, but it will slightly reduce your image quality. Conversely, you can increase your frequency to get much higher quality, but you will not have as much penetration. So that's fine on a small dog like this, but might not work on a larger animal. Your focal position is usually in the right place, which is roughly in the middle of your screen, but you can adjust this to sharpen up your image at the area that you are looking at if you need to. And dynamic range, which I mentioned earlier, you probably will not need to adjust, but let me just show you what it does. If I bring it all the way down, I get a high contrast image, and all the way up, I get a milkier looking image. If you find an image you like, press freeze, and you can save a still image or a video. I always save a video clip, because you can always go back to the video and get a still frame from it. But if you just save a still image and it doesn't show what you hoped it had shown, you're not going to be able to go back and find that from another frame. So always save a video clip. And to resume scanning, you press freeze again, and you're now live again. One tip for keeping your probe alive as long as possible is when you're not scanning, maybe you've left your scanner down to go and get another animal, or you're giving the animal a break, freeze it, and then your probe is not working, scanning the air, and it will last many more years if you do that. To measure, it's a similar concept. You're going to freeze the image, and you then press the measurement key here. And because I'm in the OB setting, you can see that the settings are here for gestational age calculations. If you're in a different setting, like abdominal, then you'll have different measurements that will come up straight away. If I imagine that this is a gestational sac, I press my set button, I move one caliper point to one side and set, and the other caliper point to the other side. This is, of course, my dog's bladder. This is not a gestation sac, but if it was, she'd be 4 weeks and 4 days pregnant. It's really important that your technique is spot on for these measurements. So if you want to learn more about this, again, check out the information below where you can see a link to a book and to our training courses. The options that you see on screen at the moment are not the only ones that you have. If you press this middle button, you'll see you have another set of options. You won't need to change these very often. But on the third page is one that I do particularly like, which is Colorize Map. And by just moving this here, you can change to different colour maps. These ones are particularly useful for looking at fine detail. So have a go with these colour maps on and just see. You might find that you actually prefer it to scanning in grey. When it comes to saving the animals that you scan, I'm really bad, and I tend to just let it create an ID automatically for me, and immediately after I do the scan I export the images and I start writing up my report or sending the owner their pictures. But if you're better than me, then what you will do when you begin your examination is click the patient button, And you can see here, you can enter the animal's name, the owner's name if you want to. You can even write a description of the study that you're about to perform and more information about the animal if you want to add that in. Once you've added that, you can just click OK and begin your examination. And that means that all the images and videos you save will be logged under that patient's name. To find previous examinations that you have performed, you go back into the patient management system, use your mouse and go to exam list and press set, and all the previous scans that you have saved images or videos for will be listed here. You can then select it, set, and if you've inserted a USB stick into the back, you can then export that study onto your USB stick for putting onto your computer. The ScanPad really is a fantastic ultrasound machine, and the controls I've shown you are just the beginning. I hope you will practice with all of them. Don't be afraid to play around with them. If you feel something has gone wrong, you can always just hit exam and go back in to your preset and begin again, or power the machine off and start again. There's nothing you can do that will permanently wreck your machine as long as you don't throw it off something. If you would like to learn all of these controls in more detail and take your scanning to the next level, please check out the link to my book and also to my courses in the description below.